So we have a technique that we utilize that allows us to get both the surgical advantage and the restorative advantage. And we do that by building a proper radiographic guide. And that's done with a dual scan technique. And the radiographic guide is a clear acrylic template that they're going to wear. And the only radiopaque substance in this radiographic guide are going to be 1 millimeter gutta-percha markers. They're going to be really small. They're going to be away from the crown. Here's the crown. It's site number 30. This is just flipped over on the underside or the intaglio side of the radiographic guide. And there's no barium mixture. There's no radiopaque substance in the guide. Here's an upper that we did. There's 2 in the posterior, 2 crowns in the posterior. So well-defined, we did a anatomical wax-up, so you have a really well-defined tooth location in that area. It just has no radiopaque substance in it. And you'll notice the 6 gutta-percha markers here. They're far away from the crown, and they're just really small areas. And then this is, again, site number 30. The gutta-percha markers are placed down at the bottom of the lingual flange, so down the vestibule, far away from any crowns. And the reason that we do that is because there's 6 gutta-percha markers in the pano, and if you can see them, there's the 6 gutta-percha markers, and if they were any more towards the occlusal, they would get lost in the restoration and the density of the restoration. So it's important to keep the gutta-percha markers down low and away from the crowns near the root of the teeth. If the patient is fully edentulous and has a hard-line, well-fitted denture, then you can also, just put gutta-percha markers in the denture. And I've seen it done a couple of different ways. I've actually seen a doctor take a drill and take a 1 millimeter diameter drill in 1 millimeter, and then take some gutta-percha and, just kind of push it in and super glue it over. So, you can do that as long as you have those markers, those radiopaque substance markers, then, it'll work in utilizing the technology that we're using. If not, you can take a drill in a millimeter, heat up the gutta-percha, seal it with resin. There's different ways to do that. If it's soft line, you can't do that. You want a duplicate denture. It has to be hard lined. Most of the prosthodontists and restoring doctors, they like to get a duplicate denture or an ice denture just because, the denture teeth aren't always going to be in the ideal tooth location. And if you're doing a full arch restoration, it's nice to have those already in the proper ideal tooth location. So when you're treatment planning, you don't have to make any adjustments. In the labs, they can make those adjustments for you.
Cindy, there was a question that just came in, if I can interrupt you for a second.
Yeah.
Is there a 6 marker minimum?
6 minimum, yeah. We've done them where it was less. We've done them with 4. We've done them with, but it's nice to have 6. We like to say 6 because if they get lost in a restoration or they get lost in the scan somewhere, it's nice to have enough landmarks so we can make an accurate merge. And you can have more. I've had them send over with 8 and 10 markers, and that's fine too. It's not those little markers aren't going to have that effect that you saw on the barium crowns. So, just as we generally you say 6, but that's not mandatory or required. That's just kind of a good number to do.
Okay, and there's a question that just came in as well. Why can't it be soft lined?
That's a great question. It can't be soft lined because we're picking only, and I'll show you some slides that show it, but because there are, and you'll notice here in the crowns, there's no barium mixture. We have these beautiful crowns that we're going to use to plan the implant position, but there's no barium mixture. So you're not going to, there's no radiopaque substance. You're not going to see it when it's scanned with the patient. So what we do is we do a dual scan technique. And the dual scan technique is we can do it with the radiographic guide. We can do it with the model. The model you can't do in every case, but this is, you can do it in some of the cases. And so you scan the patient wearing the radiographic guide, and you'll notice you can't see the radiographic guide. And I'll tell you why it doesn't work with the denture or the soft line denture, but you can't see it. But you can see the only radiopaque substance, which are the 6 gutta-percha markers. And then what we do is we take a scan of the radiographic guide by itself. And we're able to pick up a digital duplicate of the radiographic guide by itself because of the density of the guide compared to the surrounding densities. And so that allows us to pick it up. When it's in the patient, when the patient's wearing it and we scan the patient wearing the guide, there's so many varying densities with the bone and everything else that it's going to get washed away. It's not going to be able to get picked up. But when it's scanned independently, we can pick it up. If it's soft lined, that's not dense enough. We're picking up the digital duplicate based on the density of that individual guide. So that's going to be softer, and that could get washed out as we're doing the merge. And so that's why it's good to have one density throughout, and it's hard acrylic, and you're going to get a much more accurate guide doing it that way. And you'll notice here as well that you have the 6 gutta-percha markers, and they're kind of blooming out because those are very dense markers compared to what else is in the rest of the scan. And then what we do is, so you have 2 scan sets. You have one scan of the guide or the denture, and then you have another set of the patient, and we merge them together. And what we get is that we optimize what we're seeing. We see the surgical aspect, and we see the restorative aspect. And you're able to, see the ideal tooth locations, but also be able to see the bone. So it makes it nice utilizing it this way. And it goes back to just building the proper radiographic guide for this type of technology. And this is another case that we scanned, and we used the dual scan technology. This is the same patient, and we merged it twice. And these were great technicians that merged these. And you'll notice this yellow dotted outline is the outline of the denture. And then we're looking at the incisive canal here. So this is in the upper anterior maxilla. And then this is the same case, but you'll notice here on the denture, the intaglio underside of the denture, it's actually cutting through the bone a little bit. So, there's a discrepancy between these 2 merges. And when we went back and we evaluated what the radiographic guide looked like, that's where we came into our discrepancy between the merges, and the accuracy wasn't where we wanted it to be. And that's because these gutta-percha markers follow the entire vertical height of the crown, and you're going to get variances when it doesn't follow the exact protocol, or when it doesn't have that ideal radiographic guide. So these are things where we can still, build a radiographic guide, but keeping in mind that these are the inadequacies that you're going to come into when building the radiographic guide, or when you're doing the surgery and you're applying it clinically. So it is possible. The software and Blue Sky doesn't prevent us from building something like that, but it's good to know the technology, know how to utilize it, and know how that clinical application is going to come into play. So a lot of people have asked me, why do I even need a radiographic guide? I really don't want to take an impression and send it to the lab. So the reason that we need a radiographic guide is because of all the varying densities in a cone beam scan, especially at the crown level and at the tissue level, you don't get a clear definition for us to get a surgical guide that's going to fit to our standards. And so that's why you need a radiographic guide, because when we do that dual technique, we're able to get a clear view of the supporting anatomy based on the radiographic guide's fit. And so that's why you need a radiographic guide. The times that you don't need a radiographic guide would be when the supporting anatomy can be defined in a different way or by different methods, or if you have a bone-supported guide. Cone beam does really well with imaging bone, and so, if you have a bone reduction guide, and you wouldn't need one with that. So those are the 2 main ways you wouldn't need a radiographic guide. If you build a radiographic guide for every single one of your cases, you're going to be able to get a surgical guide for every single one of your cases. There are cases where you don't have to build a radiographic guide, and you can actually get really, really accurate results from that.